I want you to know that I'm happy for you. I wish nothing but the best for you both. You Lance Morissette
That's
fan,
pretty
Charlie?
good, man.
Like that song?
I see why you got offered that record deal now.
Got a fucking record deal. You bet your ass I did. Gonna make him go platinum with this voice. Kidding me? Whoa, we're live, Charlie. I pulled a fast one on you. We are live. Welcome to your Vape Hot Tub. We're gonna get bubbly. We are gonna get sassy. We're gonna have a lot of fun today, and we have a bunch, a ton of fantastic news that is getting ready to come your way. With me, as always, the ever so handsome, luscious Charlie. What's up, Charlie?
Hey guys.
Just me and Charlie today. Charlie, we didn't need a guest. We have so much information, so much positive information for anybody out there who vapes e-cigarettes that we didn't even need a guest. Charlie is the guest. We're the guests. We are the guests this time, Charlie, right?
That's right.
Charlie, where are you currently located?
I'm currently located in Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. What the heck are you doing in Washington, D.C., Charlie?
Dude, I'm here for the rally.
What rally, Charlie? What rally do you speak of?
We're having a vape rally tomorrow, the United Vapors Alliance. We are going to the White House, getting on their lawn and saying, we vape, we vote, and we're not taking any more crap.
Charlie, this sounds like it is going to be it is going to be fantastic.
I'm stoked, man. Just the amount of people that are going to be there it's freaking amazing based on just what I've seen online. Just the people last night that couldn't find hotel rooms that were posting, which we'll get into why I was up all night, but there was more people posting last night than I really expected to even be in town yet.
I think it's going to be huge. And I am seeing people from all over the country. I am seeing people in all these. I'm in a lot of Discord chats, as you are as well. People just posting who's going, I'm going, we're leaving now. People that I had no idea that were going are all on their way to DC to support our rights as Americans to use flavored e-cigarettes, which
awesome.
is really something special, man.
Yeah,
really something special.
So
now, on top of that, Charlie, could it be a better time for this to happen?
No, man. It's so perfect that the conspiracy stuff in my head is going around like crazy. Like it's just lining up like something you would see from a freaking movie, The Matrix or something.
It is like, yeah, literally. It is lining up absolutely perfectly. So we're going to start the show out as we always do. Charlie, what do you now? Did you bring anything with you to vape while you went, or did you have to buy? You brought some stuff with you, right?
Yeah, I brought a few things with me. I'm running really light at the moment because I haven't set up my vape stuff yet. I got to the hotel. Actually, I was supposed to be here last night. I got to the hotel about 10:30 this morning due to some flight problems. And so I'm rocking my billet box.
Beauty. The thing's gorgeous.
My orange billet box. And man, let me tell you, see if we can get this. The Haku Zeta. Freaking amazing little rebuildable for the billet box. So I'm rocking that with Paradigm Wicked Berry MTL 5050.
Nice.
And I'm rocking this little Voopoo. I think it's called the Find S pod system.
I wouldn't call that little.
Yeah, it's not tiny, but it's littler compared to like my Dual 21700.
Your car?
Yeah. So the battery life on this thing, I used it 3 days before I finally got a low battery when I was trying to see how long it would last. And
that's fantastic.
This new line called it's the text is tiny, but it's called Voodoo Dolls. This is the Mojo flavor. It's a 50-50 line, high nic, 24 milligrams or 18 milligrams. And that's what I'm rocking in my pod, and that's it.
I'm staying. I got the carbon going, And I have gone back to the Barrage RDA, and I am really, really enjoying it. I need to upgrade that rating. I was telling you before we started.
Yeah.
I've been vaping this for about a week and a half now, ever since the review, and I actually really, really like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick one up.
It's a lot. And I'm not just saying it. It is. I have not put it down since because I don't know. I used it for like a week before I review it, and I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great, but man, I'll tell you, I think it's great. I really, really do, and I'm really enjoying. Got a single coil in there. I've been switching back and forth between some Shy Tots and some Turkish cake, and I am absolutely in love. All right, Charlie, so let's get things started. We got a lot to talk about, but we're going to start it out as we always do. Got any funny news?
I do have some funny news. I just had to move my camera because while the placement was awesome, it looked like my eyes were closed because I was looking at the screen. So now I'm good.
Because you're tired, man. You didn't sleep.
So make sure no ads pop up. This first one, man, is really crazy.
I like crazy.
The headline is "Man Gets Really Stoned After Drinking McDonald's Sweet Tea."
What?
So,
Does he just went out and smoked a joint, had a sweet tea and smoked a joint, or what did he do?
That's what I was thinking too, but obviously this one, it surprised me a little because anybody smoking a joint and getting some sweet tea wouldn't make it in the weird news.
Sweet tea is good as fuck.
So it says a South Carolina man who went to McDonald's for a sweet tea says he received a little extra herbal substance on the side.
What?
The Island Packet reports Parrish Brown went to a McDonald's on Hilton Head Island and asked for sweet tea with light ice and extra lemon. Brown now believes extra lemon was code for marijuana since he found 3 bags of weed in his cup.
What?
He says he only realized it once he was high as a kite. So I don't know why he didn't notice his sweet tea cost $35 or something.
He probably paid on his card and didn't realize it.
They gave him the wrong cup. Like maybe it was for the guy behind him. So Brown says he's never had marijuana, so he didn't recognize the taste. And here we go. He says he paid regular price for the items.
Wow.
Beaufort County Sheriff's Office spokesman Major Bob Ramage says an investigation is ongoing. He didn't specify which McDonald's Brown had been to.
Do you know why he didn't specify which McDonald's it was? Because that drive-through line would be like 6 miles long right now.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So I'm trying to get. Did they put the marijuana in a bag in the iced tea?
Apparently so. Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense though, because then would it not ruin it?
Well,
it would ruin it.
What usually happens is a guy's driving along, got a few bags of weed on him, it gets pulled over and throws the weed in the sweet tea, because down to the bottom, because they search his car, they take the tea, put it on the roof, search through the car, don't notice. So I don't know if he might have gotten pulled over and they found it, and then he was like, I don't know how that got in there, or if he just like called the police and self-reported.
He might have got pulled over and then tried to blame it. Yeah,
it happens.
He could have.
On the old live PDs, I've seen that trick several times.
Live PD is the best.
Yeah, it is.
That show is fantastic.
That's what I watched when I was stuck in an airport all night last night.
I like Michelle Daldime's take on this. South Carolina man got so high that he forgot getting high, then went to McDonald's and blamed it on the hamburger.
That's awesome. I don't have chat up. I'm gonna pull it up on my phone in a minute, but that's awesome. So
speaking, are morons.
Our next story actually involves a camel, and it is quite the combination because it involves people from Florida.
There you go.
Getting tied into a camel incident in Louisiana at a truck stop. I mean, how much better does it get?
Not much. Not much better than that.
The headline is, in wild encounter, woman bites testicles of tiger truck stop camel to escape, officials say. So, and I'll give you a little backstory. This truck stop is actually quite famous. It's called the Tiger Stop.
Tiger stuff.
And they had a real tiger that you could go and I think they even like sometimes you could feed the tiger if you were there at the right time. And I guess the tiger got so popular and he might have passed away, so they just made it a petting zoo and now they have other animals.
A dead tiger petting zoo. You just pet the dead tiger.
Yeah, he's probably...
Did you know that tiger won the Guinness Book of World Record for the most unhappy captive animal on Earth?
Oh, it really did?
Yeah, it's in the Guinness Book of World Records. It's just his face like.
So I got to read you this article. It says a Florida woman freed herself from a camel by biting its testicles at the Tiger truck stop in Gross Head last week. After she crawled into the animal's pen to retrieve her dog and the camel sat on her, authorities said. The woman's husband had been throwing treats to their dog under Casper the camel's fence Wednesday evening before the dog went inside, said the sheriff's office.
Wow.
After the dog began interacting with the camel, the couple crawled in to get it. While inside, the camel sat on the woman, and she bit the animal, a male dromedary, to get it off of her. She said, I bit his balls to get him off of me. I bit his testicles to get him off of me, the real fair sheriff said.
That is... There is... Let me tell you something. Okay, continue with the stories. I'm going to explain that.
The investigation found that the couple had provoked the camel before it sat on the woman. The camels did nothing wrong, the sheriff's deputies said. The couple were aggressive and the camel was just doing its normal routine.
So they interviewed the camel?
Yeah, the truck stop located 20 minutes outside of Baton Rouge keeps a camel named Casper and for many years controversially kept a tiger for visitors to see on site. Authorities didn't find reasons to hold the truck stop liable for their injuries because the camel was enclosed and signs warning visitors to stay out were posted every 10 feet along the fence. The camel's never been aggressive and never caused any issues before. We've never had any problems.
Let me explain something to you. Now, for a hillbilly, that story is not surprising. Be like, bit somebody's balls, be like, fuck yeah. That's how you win. That's how you got to win. Like a hillbilly, like in my hillbilly mind, I'm like, that's not a big deal.
So of course,
I fucking bite the shit out of somebody's balls. If it's gonna help me win a fight,
I'm sure the couple
gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, I'm sure the couple called the police and said they were attacked by the camel.
Right. The most docile animal on earth, right?
I don't know how the police got involved, but deputies cited the couple for a lease law violation and criminal trespassing. State law prohibits people from letting their dogs run free on enclosed or unenclosed private property.
Fucking dogs. You ever spend any time at the Tiger truck stop?
I have.
Have you?
Yeah. So the funniest thing was I was reading this on a fairly reputable news website.
Yeah.
Apparently camels are part of the dromedary class of animals. So there was actually a picture of the camel and it said, woman bites dromedary, woman bites these nuts. I was like,
yeah, D's got after him, dude.
You can put these nuts in a serious news article. It's the best.
Yeah, I tell you about. I walked in a truck stop one time in Pennsylvania. I was heading to Hershey Park. Walked into a truck stop off the turnpike. No, it wasn't off the turnpike. It was before that. I was off 78 in Jersey, and I walked in. These two guys were in there, fucking jerking each other off in the bathroom. It was fucking crazy. I walked in. They turned and looked at me.
They weren't even in a stall or anything?
They were in a stall, but they had the stall door open. I could see in the fucking stall. And I looked at them. I was like, and I didn't register in my mind that one guy had the other guy's dick in his hand. That didn't register because I didn't expect to walk in and see a jerk. And I'm like, oh my God. So I look away and I'm like, I really got to pee. I was like, I'm going to pee anyway. So I stared straight ahead. I peed and I went over and I was like, should I wash my hands? Should I wash my hands? Should I wash my hands? And then the germaphobe side of me was like, you've got to wash your fucking hands.
Yeah, after seeing
I'm like, fuck it, I gotta wash my hands. So I went over to wash the sink and they're standing over the stall, looking at each other or looking at me, looking at each other. I could see their heads over the stall and I was just like, what's up? I walked out. When I back out to the car, I told my buddy, I'm like, I just saw two guys in the bathroom jerking each other up.
So
he's like, really? I was like, yeah. He's like, you still got to go to the bathroom? I was like, oh no, I went. He's like, you went to the bathroom when they were drinking. I was like, yeah, I had to fucking go, dude.
I don't think I could have done that. I have a shy bladder anyway, and that would have been a shock to the system. I don't think I could have peed.
This is back in my drinking days. I think I put down like 6 Mick Ultras, like in the 60-mile ride to where we were. So I was like, I gotta go to the fucking bathroom now.
That's it for my weird news. Those were so good. That's all I got to share.
Those were fantastic. Ball biting. So we're gonna start today off. We've got news. If you have not been following, what is going on with the fight for flavors, with the fight for your rights as an American to have free choice in whether you want to vape, apple pie flavored e-liquid, or tobacco flavored e-liquid. There's been quite a few developments, not just this week, but really today. Today, there's been quite a few. Originally, the beginning of this week, the Trump administration and the health organizations were planning on putting out a flavor ban. That was the word. And that was the word that started on Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we waited. We didn't get anything. Then on Wednesday, we started hearing that he was pulling back from that they were not thinking about an all-out flavor ban, that they were talking more about regulating the difference between vape shops, right? And Charlie, you probably know more about this than I do, but the difference between vape shops and convenience stores. And that vape shops should be, are going to probably be left out of this, is kind of what Kelly Conway, is that her name?
Yes.
Kelly Conway. That's what she was insinuating. Well, of course, the antis grabbed that and immediately said, the vape shops is what's selling all the illegal stuff to the kids. The vape shops, which we know isn't true. We know it's the convenience stores is where they're getting this, or buying them online, I guess. I don't know.
Right. And
they're not from the vape shops.
Yeah. And there's still some confusion. Anyone that's watched the press conference or read the news articles, they did give direct quotes. But Kellyanne Conway clearly said, we're looking at vape and we're looking at electronic cigarettes, and we don't have jurisdiction on vapes because the law clearly says electronic cigarettes. And so she's trying to make a distinction there that maybe it sounds like, from a logical standpoint, making a distinction between C-stores and gas stations and pre-filled pod devices and regular big vapes. It's been interpreted a few different ways by other people, but it was confusing as hell. So we're just going on what she said. We've heard more since then, which we'll get into after that, but she made a very clear distinction between vapes and electronic cigarettes and vape shops. She didn't discuss flavors a lot, so we don't know if that means tobacco only in vape shops or what the case may be. It sounded like a bit of good news and a bit of the tide is turning that we got initially, with some positivity.
Yeah. And
I don't know if most of you guys probably already know this that follow social media, but in Trump's live Facebook feeds of the rallies he's been doing, Wednesday he did one in Monroe, Louisiana. Monday he did one before that. And there was so much pro-vape rhetoric in the one on Monday or Tuesday that on Wednesday, they basically just started blocking people that were posting pro-vape stuff in his Facebook feed more than a few times.
Wow.
And
so much for freedom of speech.
Yeah, and basically it seems like even some conservative people I've supported in the past were making comments like, you guys are just for the Democrats trying to interrupt the election, and we're not buying it. Don't come in here with your pro-vape stuff. Write a letter to the White House. And some people even mentioned some death threats to vapors and things like that in the Facebook.
Well, yeah, I did see that.
So the cool thing was we talked to several non-vapors who were watching that and that said, man, you guys are doing great. Like the chat was just constantly filled with pro-vape and pro Constitution and pro Americans' rights.
Right.
Comments in the Facebook feed. So we're having an impact. We're making a difference.
Well, I think that you said something that we need to, hey, Waylon, I think you said something that we need to echo. And this, I don't want to put the cart before the horse. And I don't want to sound like, you know, victory is here, because it's not, but the tide is turning. I feel it. I feel it. I feel it. I see it. I really think we're starting to make an impact. That doesn't mean, but that means we need to rev it up and keep going harder and
That's
harder and
exactly
harder.
right. And we will be talking about some positive news. Everyone's seeing positive news, but just don't let up, because right now is when we need to keep the boot on the throat of the enemy, basically, and keep this pressure up. And the rally comes at the perfect time.
Oh my
And
God, the perfect time.
the great thing is that it's set up where everybody at home is going to be able to help out with basically the calls to action that they're doing to assist with the rally and getting the news out there and calling the White House. So everyone at home gets to take as big of a part in this as the people that are here. So I think that's amazing.
I think that, and the key to that is, if somebody could post the numbers, I think Addy, I'm sure, has the numbers to the White House
Yeah, he's
saved
on
somewhere. If you
fire
could
with his
post it,
speech.
he's awesome. If you could post the numbers, the key to that is, if you're not at the rally, to call the White House tomorrow and politely ask them to look outside, and that look for this is America. These are voters that want their right to flavored e-cigarettes, and that we're taking it very seriously, so serious so that we've joined, that people have traveled from all over the United States to come to Washington, D.C. and show President Trump what we feel and how America feels. So we're not bots, right? We are real
Right.
people that are affected, that are ex-smokers, that don't want to die. Our family doesn't want us to die. They don't want us to smoke. And we found a healthier, a safer alternative, maybe not healthier, but we'll say a safer alternative to cigarettes.
That's
So
right.
that is what we can do.
And there's still people who I've been watching Facebook and stuff trying to catch up. I had to take a nap today because we didn't go to bed last night. But it's amazing. There's still people that are getting off work tomorrow and finding rides. There's a ton of people that have been posting on the rally site. If anyone is in the area within driving distance tomorrow, check the UVA site, the Facebook group, United Vapors Alliance. You can post in there that you're looking for a ride. I know there was, if anyone's in Central Kentucky, there was 6 seats available for people for a free ride tomorrow morning. I guess back home after. So if you can get there, we need you there. The timing is perfect with the statements that are coming out and with the fact that Trump's going to be issuing a plan next week, which we'll talk some more about in just a minute. So if you can get there, please make it in the morning. And like I said, if you don't have a ride, it might be a shot in the dark, but get over there to United Vapors Alliance Facebook group, and they've got threads set up just for people looking for rides. You can post right on the top, hey, I'm in so-and-so if I need a ride. There's buses going from all over the place.
All over the place.
Yeah, so it's really amazing. And for the people that can't come, just please follow those, I want to say calls to action. That's a CASA term, and CASA will probably be pushing it out as a call to action. But the Vaping Legion will be making requests, and the United Vapors Alliance Facebook group will be lit up with things for people to do from home. So everybody can contribute tomorrow throughout the day if you have work, and even with coming to the rally, if you can come to the rally for the second 2 hours, but not the first few hours, whatever the case is, we need you there, because other people will be coming and going that can't stay the whole time. So if you can only come out for a small portion of it, I still say come out. And all vapors in the Washington, D.C. area, even if you can't make it to the rally, just pour it on with the vape shirts or whatever you can do. If you have a vape hoodie, wear it, because people are seeing it around town. I talked to the people at the front desk at the hotel this morning that mentioned how many they've been seeing, how many vape shirts, and people here to support vaping. So it makes an impact, even if you're just
Absolutely.
a normal job. Wear a vape t-shirt on the way there and on the way home, or whatever the case may be.
I think it's the first time, it's the first time in my lifetime that there's a lot of eye-opening things that are happening here, but the one positive out of this is seeing everybody come together, and none of us are special. None of us are politically savvy or really know a whole lot. I doubt many of us know a whole lot about the political process and things of that nature, but we do know what's right is right, and we do know the difference between right and wrong.
That's right.
And I think that's what's key here.
And so many people have learned a lot about the process with the three branches of government and the Constitution and why we fight for our rights and why election time is so important. So people are learning the process, and we're just regular people that fight for something. We'll fight to the death for something we believe in.
And I think so. Here's my take on the whole thing. And we say the tide is turning. And what I mean by that, I think of everything, almost everything in my life, I give a sports analogy to. I do. And I feel like in the beginning, we were like that boxer who's getting pounded the first round. We're just getting pounded and pounded and pounded, and we're in the corner. We're almost out. And what I really think was happening was that the antis and the people that have financial benefit to vaping going away were basically just lying and putting stuff out, and nobody knew the difference. All the lawmakers, nobody knew there was a difference. Nobody knew any information. They were uneducated, and all they were hearing were people were dying. That's it. So they were like, well, yeah, we want to get rid of this. And I remember during one of the committees, this elderly lady, well, no, I shouldn't say, she's an older lady. She was a congresswoman from New York. And she said, if it's killing people, why don't we just ban it all? And I'm thinking the same thing. Like, if I'm her, I'm just thinking, why don't you just ban it all if it's killing people? Like, if there's no benefit to this, just get rid of it.
Why are we
even arguing this at all?
The general people on the street, like if it's killing people and they're selling it to kids, like why is it even a discussion?
Right. But the key to the turnaround here isn't so much that the White House is laying off. It's that they see a difference. They're starting to understand it. And once you start unraveling this and start understanding and learning about what is really happening here, then the outrageousness of this really comes out, and you can see what we are actually arguing about and what we are actually fighting for. And it takes away the moral aspect of it from the antis to save the kids, because that's not what it's about. And once people start seeing that, then their whole thing starts to unravel.
That's exactly right. And there was a tweet that really touched me. A lot of you guys have probably seen her, but Amanda Wheeler is been doing a ton with advocacy. Her and her husband, Jordan, I believe, own some shops, and just decided to bust their butt on getting a PMTA process that was reasonable for small businesses, for one, and getting these bans overturned, which started with city bans that they were fighting, municipal flavor bans, and turned into this federal flavor ban issue. But she posted a tweet that said, because PAVE was just pounding it about the mothers and the children, she posted a tweet that said, hey, I'm Amanda Wheeler, I'm a mother, and this is why vaping is important to me. It saved my life, and my kids will have both their parents in a more active role, basically, and there for them as healthy parents because of vaping. And things like that, I mean, that touches the public. That touches the non-vapers that see those tweets. That touches politicians that they see, but maybe there's more to it than just big tobacco here trying to get all the kids hooked.
All right, we got something really juicy, and Stan just mentioned it in the chat. This is my favorite, and this is if you take anything away from this, this is what I want you to take away from it. CDC made an announcement today, 4 hours ago. 4 hours. CDC says, we found vitamin E acetate, an additive, and some THC containing products in all lung fluid samples from 29 patients with e-cigarettes or vaping product use associated lung injury. Avoid THC containing products, especially from an informal source. Basically, they're saying now that they found the vitamin E acetate. They know that's what it is. And it was from a black market. They call it an informal source. This was 4 hours ago. We knew this almost 4 months ago.
That's exactly right.
4 months ago. The High Times put an article out. Stay away from black market THC cartridges. Almost 4 months ago. And now the CDC is just coming 4 hours ago. Now, if that doesn't lead you to ask questions, now think about this aspect of it. All those people that have been duped in to blaming vapor products, banning vapes, how much egg do they have on their face now? Like,
that's exactly
what
right.
the fuck? Now, there's either two ways they can look at that. One, they were duped. Like all these governors, were they duped, or did they know and they just didn't care? They was using it as an excuse. But the reason why the CDC is having to come out with all this is because we kept the pressure on, and more and more and more and more people started figuring out that it was black market THC cartridges, that it was not nicotine vape products, until they finally had to admit it. They finally had to say, you know what?
And I think I give
That's what it is.
I give a lot of credit to this Shoe Chat, who we just discussed. I think when Stan was on the show with us, I think I'm saying it right, Shoe Chat from the CDC, who was basically the commander of the Special Task Force Crisis Emergency Team.
Yeah.
She came out on NPR and basically made statements alluding to what the CDC just came out with, and I think that put pressure on the CDC. And an NPR article got a lot of people's attention. Like, hold on, maybe there is something here to this. And so she's in the newsy statement. She says a lot, and I think that's awesome. And I give a lot of credit to her for coming forward. And with the governors, I think a lot of it was a political move for them. They said, how can we do anything besides save the children? If this is a problem, and they're trying to hook our kids and flavors hook kids, and I think they saw it as a political win. Look what we're doing. We took down big tobacco, kind of a thing.
And they in no way, shape, or form knew the repercussions of doing that. And it was going to piss people off. Yeah. Now, here is a call to action of mine. Go to Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, my God, get on Twitter. Just it's so easy to sign up. You don't need to do anything, but follow the big people like Matt from Suck My Mod, follow the United Vaping Alliance, follow some people in the thing, find the CDC article that's there, retweet it, and make sure you comment. And make sure you comment something on it like we've known this for months. But they need to be held accountable, 100%. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about this. What is the next thing that's going to happen? That the CDC takes political pressure and economic advancement of something else in order to against the public health of the United States. And that is what we need to learn from this. And that is what we need to avoid moving forward. In my opinion, Trump needs to clear it, completely clean house in the CDC.
Yeah.
Get all out and get other people in there because there is zero trust of the CDC right now. And
in my opinion, the pressure on Twitter is what led to Trump making the statement that he made.
Absolutely.
And they're understanding the repercussions of the way industry will be affected, and the economic impacts that it's going to have, and the amount of jobs that it's going to cost these people. That's all coming from Twitter, in my opinion.
Yep.
Along with the people like Greg Connolly and the people, the VTA, the people that are talking in active talks with the White House. I think Twitter has just been an amazing tool for us in this fight. And if all you do is retweet, it helps so much. The statistics are amazing. Like 100 retweets, I think, is a minimum of 10,000 eyes that get on that.
Yeah.
Which a lot of those are non-vapers.
I mean, there's 50 some of us watching. We all retweet. We're going to get 10,000 eyes on it.
One button click once you're signed up on Twitter to reheat. Just go follow Greg Connolly's is Greg THR. I think at Greg THR. We've got THR for Life is a good one to follow. Grim Green, Matt from Suck My Mod. Like Scott mentioned. And
you can put mine. Whoops, that's not mine.
Once you follow 2 or 3 of those people, then you're going to see other people that you start following, and you just hit that retweet button. If you don't want to make tweets out, hit the retweet button, and make sure when you do make comments, put "We Vape, We Vote," because there's a lot of politicians that are following that hashtag to see how our fight stays up, and if we drop off or the tide starts to turn where we're getting lazy. So just put that "We Vape, We Vote" in any comment you make on Twitter.
So here's what we know. And to break it down, before we move away from the CDC, we have other stuff we want to talk about. But here's the timeline. Charlie helped me the best. This is just off the top of my head. This isn't exact. People started getting sick around June, July. People started getting sick. There were reports that people were dying from vaping. That was it. People were dying from vaping. Around August, it started to be identified that it was vitamin E acetate, which was used as an additive to help with the flavor of THC from black market products. They started naming different products that it was part of. I forget the actual name of them. but there's a bunch. You can buy them on eBay, things like that.
Yeah, Honeycut was one of them, I believe, that was using vitamin E acetate.
That's one of them, and there's another one too that I can't think. But anyway, you can buy them on eBay, and they're all over the place. The CDC started saying stop vaping, something, but it was around the time that people started saying it was vitamin E acetate. They never ever said that that's what it was, and it went all the way through, even though tons of other organizations were saying that's what it was. And they did a report on Today's Show in October. That it was vitamin E, that it was THC causing THC cartridges, black market were causing this issue. The CDC then kind of revamped that same day. They their thing saying mostly, but it's nicotine too. It's both. Now they're isolating it to only THC, as THC cartridges, black market, from informal sources with vitamin E acetate. So
right.
100. They made 100, like a 180 turn on the entire thing.
Yeah, and to me, it's a big deal because while this information was coming through, and they had at least the CDC at least had an idea, and every press conference at all these hearings, people were saying, well, what about the illegal or illicit THC cartridges and vitamin E acetate? And FDA officials in these hearings were saying, yes, we believe THC cartridges could have a role in it, but it's also nicotine vaping that's the problem. We've got people dying just from nicotine vaping.
Right.
But then when they started really looking at the studies and the statistics, like at one point, 92% of the people that they studied with lung illness self-reported THC cartridges use. So it's a big deal. They were still making the statement and still tying it back to flavors and still pushing these flavor bans. And the FDA was still saying it might be, if when asked directly about THC cartridges, it might be THC cartridges, but we know it's nicotine vaping too.
Yeah.
And
okay.
This is a lot of egg in the face.
Huge. All right. Our next subject we're going to talk about. President Trump had a impromptu little press conference today. I believe he looked like he was getting on his helicopter.
Yeah.
He's going to fly, the dog rides a helicopter. You know that? The dog, you can get on the same helicopter.
Yeah.
Fly around the bounty hunter.
Awesome.
Very well could be. Impromptu press conference today, and he mentioned vaping. He's getting asked about vaping everywhere he goes, and I think that's the key. It keep the pressure on. Constantly want to know what's going on with vaping, what's going on with vaping, what's going on. And today he made a pretty remarkable statement. One, he mentioned that there is a difference between e-cigarettes and vaping, that they're not the exact same thing in a roundabout way, in his way of saying it. Two, he talked about a national age restriction change to 21 years old in the United States for all tobacco products, or for e-cigarettes, I believe, which is kind of bullshit. But okay, 21 years old. And the other thing he said was that he did not want to destroy small business, that there's a lot of industry here. It's a big industry, and we can't just go in and totally destroy this industry. So, Charlie, what's your take on this? Have we swayed the Donald over to take another look?
I think so. If nothing else, if we haven't changed his mind, we've given him the facts. What he chooses to do with those is on him, but we've definitely made changes and had them go in a direction that we didn't expect them to go into. So to me, that's huge.
Let's see this. I'm checking my network here.
Yeah, you were lagging a bit. I thought it was me, but it was on your end. But the fact that Trump mentioned the size of the industry, and he did mention they're looking at a federal raise in the age restrictions for vaping.
Yep.
And that they're looking into the flavor thing further because of the amount of size of the industry and the amount of jobs. And we will see a plan coming out next week.
I can't wait. I cannot wait to see what he comes back with. It's been insinuated that it may be a distinction between vape shops and gas stations selling e-cigarettes and vaping stuff, which would be fantastic. That helps small business, and it helps kind of regulate more the industry where we know, because no kids are getting, even though the antis are saying that 80%, this is the craziest, like they come up with the most bullshit statistics I've ever seen.
Oh, I know.
They're saying that 80% of youth are getting it from a vape shop. That's not, I don't even know any vape shops that carry Juul. I can't tell you. I can't remember the last one I went into that had a Juul. There
are some. A lot of them, I can tell you, a lot of the ones that were carrying it have stopped carrying it since this fight started. And one of the things that showed me the tide was turning, for those that saw it, Juul has announced quitting sales on their mint flavored pods because they were getting a lot of heat on that. And in my opinion, that was one of Juul's like hold cards they had to play. I think the fact that they played it already shows that they're feeling the pressure. They thought they were just going to wipe us out with their little comment about being flavor heroes, and that would put our industry out. And I think they see that they're kind of backed into a corner right now.
We're fighting back.
We put up a lot more fight than they thought anybody would.
So much so that they're calling us bots.
That's right.
That they think there's so many of us and so many pissed off people that they think we're bots.
But I think just the way,
which is hilarious,
the whole tide turning thing from Kellyanne Conway's statement earlier in the week, I think they might have even made some different decisions since then with this plan that they're announcing next week.
I think it's an open discussion is what I think.
Definitely.
An open discussion. And that's the great thing.
Yeah.
And people
go ahead.
I was going to say, like Secretary Aziz, the guy who's all over it, the HHS guy, is getting put in his place, which is fantastic.
Yeah, totally. All right, you want to go on to our next topic?
So our next one is, of all places, the wonderful state of Mississippi. What happened to Mississippi this week?
Man, Mississippi was exciting. It was election time for a lot of their states did their elections this week. Mississippi was one of them. Mm-hmm. And Mississippi had a governor's race going on, and the Mississippi governor, who was basically guaranteed to be elected kind of from poll statistics, decided he would make the bright political decision to come out and say he would support a vape ban or a flavor ban.
He did.
And,
he won. Did he win?
He didn't win. He actually, I believe it's the MSVAA, the president of the MSVAA saw that happen and went to discuss with the guy he was running against his opinion on vaping. And basically said, this is how many shops we've got in Mississippi. This is how many people we touch a day. And we can really get behind you if you're willing to work with us. And he was a conservative guy that is not in favor of banning if it's not called for. And as far as promises made, I don't know a lot about the details in that, but he did guarantee that the vape advocates would have a seat on the table in any possible proposed legislation, that he would hear from all sides and consider their input and let them be at that seat at the table. And so the vapors got behind him. All the polls up to election day said that he was going to lose. The vapors got behind him, turned out at the election, and as did other people. And he won.
Wow.
Kate freaking won the governor's spot. So
wow.
It was just amazing. Like I had the biggest smile on my face when that finally happened, when we saw those numbers. I was so excited to post that this morning.
That is amazing. And it was the first time, I think, that maybe the White House saw something.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they saw that. Like, wait a minute.
Like, wait, maybe they're not all bots.
Yeah. Maybe these are real people that actually vote and are very, very passionate one-issue voters that are going to oust me.
And I think part of it, I think that we get voters engaged that aren't typically part of the political process. We're bringing voters out that may not have voted or would have just voted for whoever someone told them to vote for, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Now they're really digging deep, and we are single-issue voters. A whole lot of us are.
Yeah, and I think, it's let's be honest here. Politicians in general, my take on them, they don't give a fuck about people. They give a fuck about votes. They do everything for votes. Let's be honest. They do, especially around election time. They'll do or say anything they can to give. And if they know that if they're pissing off somebody that's going to vote against them, they'll change. And I think that's what Trump's doing. I think
Oh
Trump's
yeah, that's
advisors are
how
telling him.
with our political process works. The way it works is caring about people will not get you elected. What you've got to have is you've got to have money and financial support from donors because it costs money to win an election, and you've got to have the votes. And if you don't have a crap ton of money to throw at them, but you have a lot of votes to throw at them, that's cheaper. It's cheaper for them to get those votes than to have to buy them.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we've got to offer is that we will crucify you if you come after our rights, and we will support the hell out of you if you favor reasonable regulation.
Absolutely.
And that's the reasonable, real quick, the reasonable regulation thing. There's a lot on PAVE about how we don't want to be regulated and we've delayed regulation, but the VTA has proposed 11 things that would solve a lot of the problems with vaping and youth. They believe will solve it. They've been begging for marketing standards and for the PMTA final guidelines, which weren't published until after this whole thing went to crap. So we are in favor of reasonable regulation, but we need a path to market for small businesses that don't have billions of big tobacco dollars.
So the next thing I want to talk about is a guy who is going 100% in on the entire vaping thing, getting information out. And it is, if you haven't watched it, it's Regulatory Watch. It's a channel here on YouTube. If you have not watched it, he's been going live every single day, bringing different people on to talk about the situation. He is trying to get out as much correct, true information out as possible. That I know you're a fan.
Oh, for sure, definitely. And we're talking about a major journalist here that was working for a huge news network and decided to break out and start his own network so that he could get the truth out. So this isn't just some guy that started with a webcam in his basement. He is a serious journalist with a serious production studio and team, and he's just been fighting night and day for us. He's come on our YouTube shows with some of our reviewers and advocates. He had Clive Bates on that was just amazing last week. He's been pushing the rally. He had Matt and Tristan on one of the shows I watched.
Yeah, I saw that was a really good one.
Yeah, he's nonstop, and basically he's funded through support and donations and assistance with the Regulator Watch program. So if anyone can, I'm going to be sharing some links. The poor guy is working with basically no money and still managing to do all this for us. So I will share some links in the Facebook group if people want to throw a few dollars his way. But go over to the Regulator Watch channel, give him a sub, because you'll want to watch his content. It's not just giving him a sub to help him out, but you guys need to be watching his content.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I think it is one of the best shows. I've watched him for a long time, and I'm surprised, as professional as he is and as professional as his production is, you would think he'd have like 100,000 subs, but he doesn't.
Right.
He doesn't. And he won't change his narrative. He could have, if he changed his narrative to politics instead, but he's so devoted to getting out true information about vaping and helping fight this fight that he just, he won't change. Yeah. And I can't say enough good things about the guy. I've never met him. I hope one day to. But he's awesome. He's awesome. He's all about unhiding a lot of this bullshit that is going on, and all of them are all his shows are very well done, very professional. Wears a suit and tie. Yeah, we should start wearing suit and tie, Charlie.
Yeah, we should.
We should wear.
We'll have to work that out in the budget so I can get some nice custom tailored suits.
The budget's low. Budget. All right. So we got that. All right. Our buddy, there's a guy who does a podcast. You heard of this guy? It's Joe Rogan. Is that how you say his last name? Rogan.
You
heard of him?
Sure. Yeah, it's not Rogan. Different guy.
Yeah. Different guy. Joe Rogan. He had, what was he? He talked a little bit about vaping the other day, I believe.
He did. I heard it on the plane last night, and it was kind of funny. It was a late night flight. Jennifer was 2 or 3 hours behind me, And I heard it on the podcast. I just immediately pulled my headphones off and started yelling at her. She couldn't hear me. And I'm like, oh my God, baby, Joe Rogan just said something pro vaping, because in the past we've heard comments that were more towards the anti-vaping or the be careful with vaping, which makes sense from a non-vapor. I don't know how anti-vaping he was, but he was discussing the fentanyl epidemic and the opioid crisis that we're currently dealing with. He had an expert on fentanyl that did a ton of research as far as going into labs in China where they're producing fentanyl and modifying the molecular structures to stay ahead of the Chinese government every time they come down on one particular molecular build of fentanyl. They just change it a touch, and it's so deadly. Being added to so many street drugs. So basically, they got into that. They started discussing that 30,000 people a year die from this. And Joe Rogan said, it's just amazing that politicians will use a few sound bites for an election campaign, but that's it. They're doing nothing about this. And they're spending time right now discussing a vape flavor ban, which is like the stupidest thing I've ever heard, while 30,000 people a year die from fentanyl.
Yeah.
That's not just, I mean, that 30,000 a year is fentanyl. That's not counting the other opioid overdoses, according to this guy. So
a true epidemic, which is a true epidemic.
So the cool thing was when I landed and got back connected to the network, Matt from Suck My Mod had also watched it on the flight and had tweeted about it. So we retweeted and made comments to Joe Rogan to try to get him, have someone on the show to get some discussion going with this whole thing. Because
it'd be great.
Could actually hear about the government overreach and the fake news that's going on, it would be right up his alley, the way he is with politics and conspiracies. And he really,
I'll tell you, man,
he digs deep.
I would love to. You know, we've been trying. The community has been trying to get somebody on there. I don't know if he'll do that or not. I mean, he gets like big time people on there,
right?
Like actors and stuff. So I don't know if it'll ever happen. But I think Joe is a pretty in touch guy with what's going on in the country, I feel.
I think so too.
He gets a lot of opinions from different people, whether you like him or not. The guy's pretty in tune to what's going on.
He is, and he's always willing to hear both sides when he has someone on his show, you know, when he's in discussion with them.
I wish he would have somebody from the CDC on there, is what I wish.
Oh, that would be fun.
I would love for him to have that lady that testified in front of Congress, because you could destroy her. I mean, she was a mess. She was a mess. And I mean, you talk about not like getting you know, when I talk to a medical professional, the one thing that I want to feel, the most important thing for me to feel, is confidence. I want to be confident that what they're telling me is accurate.
That's correct.
I can trust this person to tell me something that's going to help my health.
Like, right. And it's going to help it on a worldwide factor. It's going to affect people's health. And also there's a lot of law written based on that. So it would be nice to know that there's factual information coming out of the CDC.
It'd be nice to know I had confidence in the CDC.
Exactly.
I have zero confidence in the CDC. Zero. I take nothing that they say at face value. I mean, you have to research everything they say from now on. I'm sorry. But until that organization is completely cleaned out and rebuilt, there's nothing they can say that I will take. I will listen.
Right. And it's been disappointing to me because I'm a skeptic. I'm skeptical of everything anyway. But now the fact that I've seen from the inside how things really have been, especially with Ms. Shuchat or Dr. Shuchat coming out and saying that, and then seeing she's reporting this up the chain, and people higher up are still making false statements on the news, you know, the same day she's saying, I've been reporting this, I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah. How many more people have to die before?
Right. That's exactly right.
You know, I mean, the blood is on their hands. That's what we've been saying from the very beginning. The blood is on your hands, CDC. Right. You guys failed the United States. And I hate to say it, but with malice. You failed with malice. You did it on purpose. For whatever reason, You know, there's a whole, I watched a video the other day tying the CDC into the MSA money and all the different antis, which are obviously directly funded by the MSA. But there's other ways that they're funded as well from tobacco revenue, and the CDC is in on that. And so it just makes you wonder, man, like all their budgets are, you know, if people don't smoke, what happens to these organizations?
Oh, it's amazing.
Do they go away?
Right, that's exactly right. Their budgets are affected so deeply, and that's one of the things in the VTA's lawsuit that they mentioned, and that came about when the FDA was sued for not enacting PMTA sooner.
Yeah,
that's some of the facts that came out was how much the Center for Tobacco Free Kids and the Truth Initiative and those programs, their budget depends on people smoking and kids smoking. And with those rates falling down, once they could get on that vaping train, all of a sudden a whole bunch more money came rolling in.
absolutely, man. It is insane. The last thing I want to talk about, another gentleman, his name is Joe Grogan. It's not Rogan, it's Joe Grogan, but he is a political advisor. I don't know how high up, but pretty high up in the Trump administration. He's in the White House. And if you know anything about like White House politics, they have secretaries and all that, but the guys who are the advisors may not have a title, but they're the ones who are in the president's ear. Like they're the ones, like the chief of staff is literally like the second most powerful person in the United States. The chief of staff is like in charge is like, that's who the president is going to get information and to make decisions. And the chief of staff's advisors and all those people are really the people who are helping the president run the country. They're the people who are,
and they have to be. There's no way that one single man can handle all of these issues as president. He has to count on his people.
And these are the guys who are going into informal closed-door meetings.
That's right.
With the president. They're not scheduling time. They're getting FaceTime with the president. The president is asking them what they think. Oh, yeah.
They're walking into the Oval Office and saying, here's the deal.
Right. So he is one of those guys. He's an advisor. And he basically squared off with Secretary Aziz of the HHS on this entire vaping flavor bullshit that's going on. And it's like, why are you guys focusing on this?
Right.
Like there's so many other things that you could. Waylon is trying to knock stuff over. Waylon, stop, buddy.
And is it Aziz or Azar? It may be
I don't fucking know. Whatever his name is, he's a dick.
Yeah,
I can't stand Azar, a dick. That's what he really should be. I hate that guy. But anyway, so he's going after him, and he's going after the FDA, saying, "Why is the FDA trying to regulate? They're a health organization. Why are they regulating tobacco? That makes no sense at all." And ultimately, I don't know how that's going to play out in the politics of this and in our fight to save flavors, but it can't be a negative thing because those are some people that need to be checked. They really need to be checked. And it's good that they're starting to get some pushback from the White House in that respect. Hi, Waylon.
Man, Waylon is all up in the camera today.
Dude, every time I start doing the show, he comes right. He wants to be a star.
Yeah.
Waylon wants his own YouTube channel.
He wants to be on the panel.
He wants to be, he's all for vaping rights.
So
he's all for vaping rights.
Let's talk. You want to talk about the rally for just a second, real quick?
We're gonna close it out with the rally. We got about 10 minutes. We'll do it on the rally, and then we'll get out of here.
So the people that can make it and that will be coming, the Legion did a show Sunday, I believe. They called it the last show before the rally or something like that. They went over the do's and don'ts in details. Main things is make sure if you bring whatever you bring in, you need to bring out with you as far as trash wise. Throw it back in your backpack or carry a little plastic bag for your trash and get it to a receptacle, because the National Park Service, who doesn't own but regulates the ellipse, has been very helpful to us, and they're hoping that this thing goes great so that in the future when we want to do events it doesn't cause a problem. Bathrooms are far away, so keep that in mind. And you can bring signs, just no profanity, be respectful, and no poles are allowed. You can't carry like a stick or a pole, and no boxes are allowed. The boxes scare the hell out of the White House police and the Secret Service.
Boxes?
Yeah, because they were going to have a casket was going to be part of the rally. And it got to be problem with the Secret Service needing to know what kind of wood it was and be able to scan the whole thing and all that to make sure it wasn't a possibility. It had to
Wow.
would have had to go off site and for an inspection and come back on. It wasn't a reality. So they're big on boxes, apparently.
Wow.
Don't bring boxes if you have signs. And the main thing is be respectful and try not to screw up the grass, because they really care about that perfect green grass that looks so great in the photographs. So
I saw something about wear shoes that don't destroy grass.
really,
Yeah, you know what shoes don't destroy grass at all? The ones that everybody should probably wear tomorrow?
what is that?
Crocs.
Oh yeah,
You have a pair of Crocs?
I do, but they're not.
You do have a pair of Crocs? Really?
I do, but the dog chewed them up, so they're not for public consumption. I just wear them around the house. But
Not for public.
I'm wearing running shoes, and that's going to be my deal, because it's going to be a lot of walking.
I think the biggest thing to understand about this rally is that there are people who want this to fail, and they're organized. And I think that the biggest piece of advice I could give anybody is don't interact, engage any anti-person. Just say, God bless you. I don't want to smoke. That, simple as that. I'm here because I don't want to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah, and
God bless you for what you do. You don't want people smoking. I don't want people smoking. And let's just agree on that and move forward.
And if you run into some that have been in the rally, there will be marshals everywhere. People with armbands on and clearly labeled as marshals. Let them know, because security is really tight here, and they already know that shouldn't be going on. So that will get taken care of swiftly. Just report it. And the media management is set up really nice for the media to have people to talk to. If the media does come up to you, they should have a marshal with them, escorting them. If the media does come up to you, just keep it real simple. Direct them to the media personnel like Greg Connolly. And if you have to say something, just say, "We vape, we vote. I'm here because I'm a single issue voter." And that's really all you need to say.
And I'll tell you how delicate this is all that is being done here, all the positive momentum. Because let me tell you, the antis are getting nervous. For the first time, I think they're actually starting to see it slip. And they're getting nervous. When people get nervous, they do desperate actions. The worst thing that could happen, and would erase everything that everybody has done, is if something were to happen between an anti, God forbid, a teenager or a child, and a media took a photograph of something happening where that person was put in danger, and they could spin it to aggressive vapors, pro-tobacco, attack child, or something of that nature.
Right.
And not saying that's going to happen, but any interaction in a blink of a photograph can be made to look any way it possibly wants to be. So you need to avoid those type of interactions at all costs. It is, I don't want to die. I agree with you on smoking. I don't want to smoke. And that's it. Just move on. Do not get into it with them.
And another it's a consumer rally. They've said vape how you want to vape, but do it respectfully if you can. Just don't blow your huge cloud straight up in the air. Don't be taking selfies having a cloud comp at the ellipse. And if they put a camera in your face, whatever you do, don't vape while you're talking to that camera. Don't blow O's for them when they ask you to, because they have plenty of B-roll footage, and that's basically all they'll play on the news is vapors disrespectfully vaping if we give them the footage. So just try to be respectful in that way, and let's show these guys what we're capable of when we come together with one voice.
Absolutely. Don't treat the media as your friend. They're not your friend.
That's
the one thing I told my son immediately is, like, when you go into it, if you ever get interrogated by the police, they're not your friends. They're not trying to help you. Don't tell them anything. And it's the same with the media. They're not your friend. They're there to get a picture and a story, and and whatever can get their headline moved up in the paper and on a closer page to the front, they're going to do. So no O's, like you said.
We've got some major media outlets that are going to be there for sure, plus the ones we don't even know about that will show up. So it's going to be a big deal. There's going to be a lot of people at this rally, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure it's an amazing event.
Absolutely. All right, Charlie, anything to say before we take off?
I think that's it. We have a really cool guest that we will have on sometime next week, probably earlier in the week, hopefully. And
Good.
so you guys tune in for that. We'll be giving updates. I don't want to.
Yeah, we got a really good guest coming on next week. Probably won't be on Friday.
Yeah, so we've got to coordinate that. He's actually at the rally, so we'll coordinate that with him getting home and things like that. But we've got big things coming, and just keep up this fight. Don't just because the tide is turning, don't give in. We need to step on their throats harder than we've done yet, and we'll see what happens next week. Regardless how bad the news is next week, we still need to keep the fight up. I think some of the bad news we heard last week was just to press us to see how we were going to react and if they could get just slipped past us. So just keep the fight up regardless. Keep the pressure on. And we need to stand together with one voice like we've done. And thanks to everybody involved. You guys have really surprised me, the vaping community as a whole, and coming together.
Absolutely. I echo that as well. I can't wait for tomorrow. Next week on the Vape at 5, we got a bunch of things. I got 2 giveaways I'm doing Monday. So I got last week's giveaway and this week's giveaway. I'm doing both on Monday. This week was kind of tough. I have not been feeling good at all. And I still don't feel good, but I'm hanging in there. I've just been tired and worn out, burnout, everything. So we got my batteries recharged this weekend. We'll get back into things on Monday. Monday on the Vape at 5, we have Zenith Coils is going to be our featured builder. So we'll start with that. We'll do a giveaway for Big G and for Coil. Let me see. Who was, I believe, Waylon. Get off my, Waylon. I got to see who. Waylon is on my shit. Zenith Coils and Turbinetta. That's the 2 giveaways I believe we're doing next week. So we'll do those on Monday. So get ready for that. We also have a bunch of great stuff coming up next week. We're going to do probably a couple of hot todds. We'll do one with a surprise guest, and then we'll do another one on Friday to give a carry out. We'll also talk about what happened at the rally a little bit and spring some information about that. Tonight on the YouTubes, you got Vape Stew on at 10:30. You got Vaping with Tommy Friends on at 11. You got the Rising Vapors on at 8:30. And you have the Green Room, I believe, is on at 7:30.
I don't know.
I hope that's right.
But I think you got everybody.
Yep. So tune into those. I'll see you guys in the chat of that. Let's kick ass tomorrow. Everybody call the White House. Let's let them know that we're there. Love you guys. We will see you Monday. Vape at 5. Peace.